What is going on, YouTube? This is James here with Obsessed Auto, and today we're going to show you how to change your own oil so you can save yourself a few dollars. Let's get to it. So here are a few of the items that you are going to need to change your own oil. First off, obviously, oil. You'll want to look in your owner's manual, or a lot of times your oil cap will say what type of oil your vehicle takes. My truck takes 5W30, so that's what we're using today. You also want to check and see how many quarts it takes. In my case, I take 6 quarts, so we're going to put 6 quarts in. You also want to pick up an oil filter. I like to use AC Delco just because that's what these things used from the factory on a GM product. So that's what I like to put back on there. And you also need a wrench, which I'm pretty sure my oil drain cap is a 15 mil. Might be a 16 though, I'm not sure. And the last thing you'll need is something to catch your oil into. These are really cheap to get, and you can get multiple uses out of them, and you just go to the auto parts store where you bought your oil and you can dump them, no problem. So the first thing I like to do is get the hood popped on the vehicle so that we can unscrew the oil cap. And before you guys say anything, yes, I do know I need new headlights. That will be coming soon, promise. So let's go ahead and get the hood up here. Find your oil cap and go ahead and loosen that guy. What this is going to do is allow the oil to pour out of the bottom a lot more free. So let's go ahead and get started. So after you got your vehicle situated, go ahead and get underneath and find your oil drain plug, which mine is right here. Transmission's right there. Oil drain plug is on the back of the oil pan. If you have a front wheel drive vehicle, your oil drain plug will probably be a lot closer to the front. So I got my oil catch can located directly underneath my oil drain plug. You want to make sure that when the oil comes spilling out of here, it's going to go in that can. You really don't want to make a big mess for yourself. So next thing we'll do is go ahead and loosen the 15 millimeter, in my case, on the oil drain plug. So as you guys can see, I'm getting the oil plug loosened right now. I actually got it hand loose, so I'm going to go ahead and yank my wrench off of here. Maybe. There we go. I'm going to double check to make sure that my pan is underneath the plug. That way I don't make a big mess in my garage. And go ahead and just take that guy out of there. Just like that. Oil is now draining out of the truck. You want to let it sit here for a few minutes and make sure all the oil is out of there. Alright. Now all the oil has drained out of the truck and it's just down to a slow drip. We're going to go ahead and stick the plug back in. Now some vehicles might need a washer that goes in front of the oil plug. In the case of my vehicle, my truck, you just tighten it on there, which I will get the wrench on, and you just want to snug that down. I know there's a torque rating for these, but I mean, you want them kind of snug, but you don't want it super tight because you will break that, and that's just not a good day for the home team. So we'll get that done, and next we'll move on to the oil filter. So after you get the oil drain tightened back up, which I did, and again, I cannot stress this enough, you do not want to go too tight on these. It'll just mess all kinds of things up. Alright, so after you get your oil plug back in and tight, and again, you don't want to go too tight, just nice and snug on those. You'll want to locate your oil filter, which mine happens to be right next to it, which makes things way easier. Now, on your vehicle, hopefully you know where your oil filter is at. If not, go ahead and Google it, because honestly, they can be hidden just about anywhere in a modern car. So, you want to make sure you know where that's at before you start this whole process. So, let's go ahead and get this loosened up and get it dropped down. Alright, hopefully you guys can see, but I do have the oil filter down now. There's just a little bit of oil in there, what's actually chilling in the filter. So there will be a little bit of oil that comes down with this when you take it down. Just make sure you go nice and quick, that way you alleviate any messes that are possible. So now, the next step is to actually put up the new oil filter. And one little quick tip that I like to do is put some oil on the O-ring for the new oil filter, which I can show you guys real quick. And that usually helps it make a nice seal up there on the surface when you screw the oil filter back on. Alright, so here we have the new oil filter that's getting ready to go back right up in there. But first, what I'm going to do is take my finger and dab a little oil on this O-ring, just to help make a good seal when we screw it back on. So what I do is I'll just put my finger into the oil pan here and just get a little bit of oil on there. And then we'll go ahead and reinstall the oil filter. So now the oil filter's back on. I just have it on there. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how tight to tighten this back on. You only want to use your hand when tightening this. You don't want to use any tools to tighten your oil filter. That's bad form, and that can cause you some big problems the next time you go to change your oil. So, Just go really snug using your hand only. That's all it needs. It doesn't need to be super tight, or you're going to be causing yourself a lot of headache next time around. Just a quick tip. That just about wraps it up underneath here, so I'll meet you guys back on the top side. Now that we're done with everything on the bottom side of the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and grab our oil here. And this is going to be real difficult for me to do with one hand, but you guys should get the idea. I got a little funnel set up in the oil fill hole here. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing filled up with 6 quarts of Valvoline Max Life. That's just the oil that was on sale, if I'm being honest with you. I always try to run decent oil in my truck, but I would like to run Mobil 1, but I don't want to pay Mobil 1 prices. So, here we go. And we're just going to slowly pour the oil in here. Nice and fresh oil. Look at that. Makes me feel better knowing my truck has clean oil in it. Alright, there was the 6th and final quart of oil that the truck needs. So we'll go ahead and pull the funnel out. Probably give it a good wipe down before I put it away. Then you take your oil cap and put it back on. And just like that, your oil is changed. Now, if you drive a modern day vehicle, there's one more step that we have to do. Listening to a little BPM, but we can't do that. We'll get in trouble on YouTube. Alright, most vehicles made within the last 15 years have some type of oil change or oil life indicator. So we'll go ahead and find the one on the truck here. There it is, engine oil life. Now in my particular application, you just got to push and hold this back arrow. And there it is. Just like that, oil life reset. We're good to go. Oil life, 100%. Now, some vehicles might not be so easy where you can just do it on the steering wheel. Some vehicles you might have to push your brake pedal about 15 times or do something crazy with the ignition. But again, that's something that you can easily find on Google for your application. Now, last thing I like to do before we wrap this up is I'm actually going to start up the truck and check underneath for leaks. We'll listen to this baby purr. And as I can already see, I have great oil pressure. Let's go underneath and make sure we don't have any leaks. So what I like to do now that we're underneath here, just check the oil drain plug, make sure it's not leaking. Look at the oil filter. Yep, it's not leaking. So it looks like we're good. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video. Really, I just wanted to make this quick video for you guys so that you can see how easy it is to change your own oil. I mean, even with filming, I think I did this in about a half hour. It's really so easy, and it can usually save you a few dollars. And on top of that, if you take it to some quick lube place, you have no idea what kind of oil they're putting in your vehicle. So, at least this way, you know that you're getting good oil, and you know that it's done right. So, if you guys have any questions, comments, just let me know. Hope you guys liked the video, and just like that, I'm out.